Hollywood photographer Robert Zuckerman grew up in New York and New Jersey. He now lives in California and, more often than not, finds himself calling movie sets home. His photos end up on posters, billboards, DVDs, magazine covers, any surface that the studios hope will catch the eyes of potential moviegoers. He shot this, and this, and this too. But he also shot this, and this one too. These photos are part of a project he calls Kindsight. He's already put out a book of the same name, and wherever he finds himself, be it the set of Confessions of a Shopaholic or this summer's impending blockbuster Transformers 2: Revenge of the Fallen, he's always on the lookout for the stars of good old, everyday reality.
Kindsight Project is using photography and text, pictures with words, to celebrate and illuminate the richness of everyday life. Random encounters with people, but how life can be rich just by stopping and talking to someone. I asked Flynn to pause for a picture, and this is what happens, uncontrived. In his twisted smile, freckled skin, and old soul eyes, I see Flynn as Flynn, but also as part of the continuum. I see his dad, who I know in the now life, and his ancestors, who through this face and expression I glimpse in the eternal sense. Loading my bags into the trunk of Eddie's cab, we catch each other eyeing a very pretty woman walking her dog by the building. As we head out toward the airport, I say, "She's stunning." "Too skinny for me," says Eddie, with pure Jersey bluster. "Can I help you find anything?" he asks. "How about the meaning of life?" I reply. Without hesitation, he tells me, "Oh, that's 2 aisles over, middle shelf in a small can." "Great, thank you. May I make a photo of you?" "Okay." All right, good. Well, anyway, we're here on the camera truck for the film Transformers. It's the second Transformers movie. This is the camera truck for primarily for the motion picture cameramen. And as I'm part of the same union, we're in Local 600, which is the camera union, and it covers the camera operators, the focus pullers, the loaders, the people who load the film. There's a lot of different categories. And my division, which is the still photographer. We kind of keep all our stuff on here, and every day come in here and unload it. Right now you're on a truck that's been through a very intense 4 weeks of filming, so a lot of stuff is not necessarily in the most pristine state. Off to the front. Aside from photographing the actors and the sets and the events of actual filming, is the studio likes to have shots of empty sets and the scenery. For instance, when I was working on another film, National Treasure 2, last year, and we went to Paris, it was very important that on my own, when they weren't filming, I ran around Paris and got all the famous icons, and Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe. Here on the Princeton campus, it's a beautiful old building, so I'm just been photographing some of the empty places where we actually filmed yesterday. The marketing people like to have these as elements to use. For instance, when they're compositing, they can digitally put an actor in front of something. So I always try to get photos not only of the buildings and the places, but even on the sound stage of the empty sets. It's just elements that they like to have, and for posterity and also for possible use in marketing.
After snapping some stills on the set of Transformers 2, we wandered over to a local barber shop, and Robert got to work.
The process is just basically talking to someone and saying hello, and seeing what arrives out of it. Because I've also found that in talking to people, there's always more than meets the eye. Yeah. And once you start to talk, like expectations of people, I've talked to people who are cashiers and in supermarkets, and I say, what do you really do? And a lot of times, well, I'm a musician, or I'm a painter, I'm a writer. And it's there's a lot more than meets the eye. So you never know what's going to happen just by opening up. And part of what this is about is that any moment or encounter can become a story of life's richness. So that's it.
Big hat. A while back, Robert started up a series of Kindsight workshops in schools throughout New Jersey, spreading the word that making pictures can illuminate our world.
"Take me to court," he yelled. We stood there yelling at each other. I took my computer and left, feeling bad. That night, I called his store and left a message. "I don't like the way you dealt with me. You didn't take the high road, but I also don't like that I yelled at you. I'm sorry for that. I think you're a good man who is having a bad day. Please accept my apology." The next day, I got a message from Frank, almost in tears. "You should not apologize to me. I should be apologizing to you. You are right. I did not take the high road. From now on, when you come into my store, you will be more than a customer. You will be my friend, and you will get $50 off anything you do here. I went in yesterday to say hello. I saved your message, he said. I learned such a lesson from this. I wish I had learned this 20 years ago. Yes. With kids, I try and talk about how I use photography. I mean, I've always... okay, sorry, all you people in Hollywood, I might not get hired again, but I've always had an issue, even though I work on a lot of these big blockbuster films and to support my family, I've kind of always had an issue with the gratuitous violence and sort of the direction that TV and the media take. And I've just wanted to instill this idea that everyday life is rich and there's good stuff in life too. And I think that's the antidote to this specter of terror that we have. So children of the future, if I can get in there and maybe influence them or offer them another way of seeing things, that it might have an effect for the future.
Yeah. I wanted to see Kindsight in action. So we met up with Robert in Manhattan, where he was working on a new movie for Walt Disney Pictures called Sorcerer's Apprentice, starring Nicolas Cage. We started at a falafel stand.
Salam. Hi, my name is Robert. Very good. How are you? Can I make a photo with you? What? Okay. If they don't want to make a photo, I never do it. I always ask. And that's part of what I work with the kids on, too. I say, if they don't want it, respect people. So cut.
Undaunted, we continued our Kindsighting mission, all the way around the corner, to a curious store that sells belts, socks, shirts, and Kung Fu DVDs.
My name is Robert, and I'm just here in town. I do photography on the movies, but I also have this book that I do, and they're doing a little story on me. And the book is about everyday life. What I do is I make a photo, and then I tell a little story about the people.
Oh, okay.
So I make a photo, and it just could be like you and me having a conversation.
Good, that's good.
So is it okay if I make a photograph of you guys?
No problem. Photo, whatever you want.
And then, what I'll do is maybe I'll write a story about you, and I'll bring it back here.
No problem.
Beautiful. And one last one here. Okay, and 1, 2, and... Well, that worked out.
Success. Kindsight prevailed.
Yeah, that's how it's done. Basically, just a moment that opens up into a connection. And I have to tell you that pretty much everyone in that book, strangers that I've met, I've stayed in touch with, and I consider my friends.
Maybe we'll see our new friends in the pages of Robert Zuckerman's next production, Kindsight 2, coming soon.